Okay, hello everyone, it's Michael Baltos from Orderflows, and this is my Orderflows market analysis for Thursday, July 27, 2017, and wow, what a day today. We had Dow closing at record highs, basically on the back of Verizon and Boeing. Verizon was up about 7.5%, but broader indices were lower. You had Nasdaq was down about just about over 0.5%. Apple was down quite a bit today. It was down almost 2%. Although we closed lower in Nasdaq and S&Ps, it was well off our lows for the day. And there's also, I think what was adding to some of the drop was Dow Jones transports were down about 3%. And, usually when you get the transports down quite a bit, it's, a warning signal to some of these old school traders that get ready for an equities pullback, but we'll see. So before I jump into it, go through a brief disclaimer. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. It should not be considered a solicitation to buy or sell a futures contract or make any other type of investment decision. Futures trading contains substantial risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more than the initial investment. Risk capital is money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Again, the tools I'm going to talk about in this presentation that I'm going to be using in the charts are the Orderflows Trader, the volume footprint chart, and the Delta Scalper. So, what do I mean when we had this big pullback? If you go to the daily chart really quick here in the S&Ps, this is the S&P daily chart. You can see early in the morning we're up here at our highs, new contract highs 24.80 and what was that, 80.5. But then later in the session, first couple hours until from the cash open until 10 a.m. it was just hanging around in here around 77, 78, 79, down to 76. We were just in that very tight range. Extremely boring morning. And then we broke. We traded all the way down to 57 and 57 even before recovering back up to 72 and a quarter. So while it looks like you're just down marginally, we were down quite a bit. We took out yesterday's low. We took out the low from 2 days ago. We took out the 19th was last Wednesday, took out that low. So we didn't take out the low of this 18th, but we didn't take out last week's low. But we took out obviously this week's low. We took out most of the lows earlier this week. Now, the interesting thing was, again, early in the session, I'll get the 10 range chart up here really quick. Just it'll make explanation a lot easier. Is if you've ever worked with volume profile. Okay, here, this is the volume profile. Sorry, here. What day is this? The 20th. Where am I here? Bear with me here. Okay, so on the 25th, okay, this is the volume profile for the 25th. Value area high, you're looking here around 24.77.5. Value area low around 24.74. That's why I drew these lines here. I've had these lines up here since yesterday, actually. Okay, so this was on Tuesday, 25th. And then on the 26th, which was Wednesday, yesterday, again, also on the volume profile, you're basically looking at around the same value area, right around 77.5 high, value area high, 74 low. Okay, now, where are we here? So we came into the session this morning. Sorry, no, then this is the 26th here. Okay, and yesterday, if you remember, we did get down below the value area low, and then we did it again later in the session and made a new low by a tick, then rallied back up in there. Okay, then this morning we were trading just on, this is today already here, so we made the high just after the cash open, and we just, we're trading within that value area for, most of the morning. We did pop up here, this bar here at 11:31. It took about 2 hours to form. And honestly, I was hoping, I'm an optimist, right? I like the market to rally rather than sell off, but we couldn't take out that high. It was really struggling. Then we come back inside the value area. Okay, so we can't make a move above the value area. Extend the move higher and make new highs and do much. So what am I going to look for? I'm going to look for if we're going to trade through the value area. And what happens is we get down to the value area low, yesterday's value area low, and the same value area low as 2 days ago, which is not very often you get the same value area for 2 days in a row. But when you break that, watch what happens. Boom, you get a lot of selling coming in here. Strong negative deltas, 4,200, 4,700. You got a bunch of stacked imbalances, and this is at 74. Okay, now yesterday's low is what, 1.5 here, so it's just right in here as well. So boom, we take out yesterday's low, so we're below the value area for the last 2 days, below yesterday's low. And you're just looking at a bearish market right now. And what happens is we come off, we trade all the way down. It's just all selling. It's just all dominated by selling. You had the one bar here, a little bit of buying. But look at these deltas. They're strong. 1,200, 6,000, 6,000. Stronger than what you were earlier, 4,000, 4,000. And you keep selling off, You're looking for some buying to come in. Some came in here, honestly, at 12.29. You had this divergence, no ratio. You didn't get much of a bounce. It bounced up about a point off the point and a half. The low is here at 60.5, 60.75. We did get back up to 63 3/4, I think it was, before coming down again. You get some weak buying in here, some positive deltas, 600, 600. Then you get down here to this low, another divergence, and then you rally up for it. But really the big thing was, for me at least, was getting below this value area low, which we had for the last 2 days. So to me that was quite a powerful level to blow through. Okay, so again, just to touch on volume profile, that's one of the benefits of using things like market profile, order flow, volume profiles, because if you're just looking at a bar chart, this is what kills me about quote price action traders. Oh, I'm watching the price action. Well, you don't know where value is, right? And if you're just looking at this bar here, even though it's it opened here, closed up here, a big green bar, it looks like, oh, this is your body, but really for this day on the 25th, your value area is up here in the wick, right? And again, if you're not noticing it, let's just let's go back here to this day, the 25th. All right, what was the day? What did it look like? This is where we opened on the 25th here, and so you got like this big green candle, but it's kind of misleading. This is where all the trading was during the day. It was up here in the wick, right? And it settled down here. So even though it looked like, yeah, it was a strong, a nice up day, people, I think a lot of candlestick guys, right, they just look at the what do you call it, the wick. They really disregard this and think, oh, okay, yeah, I think a lot of trading happened here, when it didn't. It's this area up in here, right, from 74 to basically 74 to 78, right in here. Draw it in here. So 77 3/4. So this was this area here. This was the value area, right? Right in here. You can see it right here. And then even for the next day, that's where all the value, that's where all the volume was, right in there, right in here. So we got through there, we broke through there finally. Yesterday we poked through it, came back up again. We hit through by a couple of ticks early in that session yesterday. Then late in the session we broke through it again, But then we rallied back right up into it, right? So, what's going to happen when you're trading above the value area? One is you're going to come down, test it, and then go up. Two is you're going to test it, trade sideways. Or three, you're going to come down, test the low, and then break. And you get these big breaks sometimes like that, so boom. Again, I'm not saying you would have sold it right here and covered it down here. Of course not. But, there was a lot of meat that you could have got something out of there. That's why I'm spending a lot of time talking about it, even though the way I'm trying to explain it is probably more confusing than anything. But anyway, that's the beauty of using order flow and using market profile, volume profile. I don't really talk much about market profile, but order flow really is an extension of market profile. Volume profile is an extension of market profile. I'll be honest with you, it's not something completely different. It gets a lot of its thought process from it. But again, if you're a price action trader, oh yeah, you have this big green candle up here and this and that, and what happens? Instead of keep going up, we hit this area and we break through this value area and come off. But anyway, let me just digress here back into simple order flow. I'll say simple order flow, but regular order flow. And Nasdaq this morning. So just after the cash open, we had we had made our high right on the cash, started selling off. Now this is where things got interesting. Okay, so you got Delta Scalper giving you a sell right here, coming down and down. I remember I was talking about this in the room. You got Delta minus 400, 184, 150, 169, 46. So it's getting weaker on this move down. Okay, so what you should be looking for is a bit of a bounce if you're going to get a turn in some positive delta strung together. So right on the low, you got negative delta. The bar turns up, right, which sort of this bar delta divergence. And next bar, you got Delta Scalper kicking off with a nice positive delta, and even follows up in the next bar, and you get a nice move back up. Right there, boom, boom, boom. It does go higher. So that was a nice one. That was a simple order flow. I'll say it's not a setup, but or a pattern, but that's how reading the order flow. You see these things happening in the markets every day. Next one I'll talk about is 5 years. Now this was interesting. This was this morning, about 5 in the morning. You're coming into the low here in the 5 years. You got some strong selling coming in. You got the selling imbalance a little bit just off your lows. Boom, 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 make new lows, and right on your low, what do you got? You've got ratio and divergence. I talk about it every single day. Today I've got a bunch to show you, but more importantly, you also had the stacked buying imbalance right off the low. I love stack buying imbalances off lows. I love stack selling imbalances off highs. That's where you want to be looking for them. They don't always happen there, but when they do, they're quite powerful. Things have changed. You come into this low, all of a sudden you got very aggressive buyers coming in, and you get a nice move up here. Eventually you sold off. There's things here in the order flow. You got a ratio bounds low. You got this red arrow indicating some trap traders up here. You rally back up here, you got some more trap traders, and your market sells off. You come down to here, Delta Scalper gives a buy, and we start to rally. But what happens is it falls apart. And I remember this. Again, this was during the room time here. You have these very strong buying. You got buying imbalances, 1,400, 5,000, which is decent, in the 5 years. But what happens is, so you got aggressive buyers, right? You're coming up off your low, aggressive buying coming in, buying imbalance, 5,000 here, 5,000 there. And so you have strong buyers. Then what happens? The buying just stops, right? These aggressive buyers are no longer there. And also the market starts dropping, even 284 trade here. Then you look and you're stacked in, it's not stacked selling imbalance, but it's a multiple imbalances in the bar. 1,800, 1,400, 600. So, some of these people that were buying it here on this way up are realizing, hey, you know what, this move is not happening. We're not going higher. They turn sellers here. The market sells off down to new lows. But, this, to me, this was very key. I did think when we couldn't go higher, couldn't muster a move higher here, you got positive delta, 4,000. You should be trading, 0.5 right now instead of trading 0.2.5. And I said, once once the aggressive buyers were realizing, shit, we're wrong, and one, they stopped buying, and two, they turned sellers. That's why you got these selling imbalances immediately afterwards. 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and go down into new lows. So you got people that were long and wrong, basically getting out and covering their loss, and you don't have the aggressive buyers, basically bidding up the market anymore, and the market just naturally falls down. Gotta talk about Bunds really quick. So again, you came up here. I mean, this was a bit interesting here in the Bunds, this high. This was 2 in the morning, 2:46 this morning. Again, it don't matter if it's 2:46. In the Bunds, I realize a lot of people aren't in the U.S. are asleep at this time. But for example purposes, I want to talk about this because in case you see it during something developed like this during the U.S. session. So you got a divergence right here. You got the high. You got the negative delta. Got a ratio, it's 27.59. It's very close to what I like, but we'll call it as not a ratio. But you get a ratio in the next bar, 0. It's a black one. Now there's two types of 0 prints. Basically, if you have a 0 on top, it'll be black. If the 0 on the second spot, it'll be blue. But again, if it's a 0, to me, it's still a ratio. So you get a divergence and a ratio in the next bar, and you sell off again. I talk about that setup every day. Now, again, and look at this high. So from this high, 246, negative delta, 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 all the way out here for the from 246 to 338. Then delta scalper gives a sell here, and what happens is you just keep going sideways. Negative delta, one positive delta here. But again, you have the delta scalper is reading. Honestly, it came in. I don't say it came in late. I would have liked to see the delta scalper somewhere up in here, but it's reading the delta and doing the analysis for you. And then finally, the selling is just too much. The buyers, I can't take it anymore, and then you get your move. So you get your move from from 162.38, all the way down here to 18. That's a quick 20 ticks. Bounces up a little bit to 28 before it comes back down here to the 16 level. But again, watch what's happening in the delta when you hit the highs. It's just stringing all this negative delta in here, all negative delta, all negative delta, and then it finally breaks. Okay, so the next market, this is soy meal. Again, I'm going to show you guys. I show you guys these different markets sometimes, because I want to show you that, order flow works in other markets, not just S&Ps or bonds or euro currency or crude. Grains, to me, are great contracts to trade because they really follow supply and demand very well. Especially, grains are more driven by commercial traders than... let me restart over. Grains are more driven by supply and demand because you have the dominated majority of the participants are commercials, and they don't sit there intraday trading most of these things. The amount of intraday speculation in some of these contracts is a lot less than you're going to get in crude oil and S&Ps. So, but again, looking for the same things. Divergence, okay. But I want more, right? I want a ratio afterwards. Here you got divergence and a ratio, just went sideways. Okay, fair enough. Delta scalper, give a buy, you go up to new highs. Ratio and divergence right on the high, and you get a nice little sell-off here going into the close. So the same thing I'm looking for. Delta scalper. I'm looking at ratios and divergence. In this case today, you didn't have any point of controls on the extreme, but I'd be looking for the same things. Stacked imbalances, everything. Okay, so that was crude oil. That was soy meal. Crude oil, I'll be looking at the same thing. Here you got a ratio and divergence. And you get a nice little move up. You come back up here to test the high, before you come back down again. So, you had really what I like to look for, right? Okay, so I got this bearish signal here. Ratio divergence. Look for the move to happen immediately, right? It's nice to get this pullback up here and then a move down. Look for the move to happen over the next 2 bars. When it pulls up like this, pulls back, and then makes a move lower, this is the time I'm looking to get out, as any sign that the market is starting to pull back, because I don't expect the move. What I don't expect to happen is I got my bearish signal here, we make a move here, you're talking a move from about 12 down to double O, so it's about 10, 12 ticks. Pulls back up here. That's assuming I just get in here anyhow, get in aggressively, and then pulls back up, and then makes the same sort of move here, a little bit lower, and then starts pulling back. I'm not going to look for it to come back down and make another move like this, maybe come down to 48.90. No, give you one shot, two shots. Don't wait for a third shot. Yeah, I would like the move to be bigger, right? I'd love it to be from 49.12 down to 48.50, but it just wasn't happening. You met some buying in here, rallied back up. You got another push lower. Okay, great. That's a gift. Get out if you're still in it. Don't sit there and hope and pray that it's going to go lower. And as expected, it started rallying back up here. Okay, so last market I'll talk about here really quick is the euro currency 6E. So just going back to the European Open. I mean, you got good volume in the euro currency. You can pretty much trade it from the European Open. And looking for some signs. Yeah, you got point of control on the extreme, but I prefer this at a swing high. Not it's not really a swing high. You're just 1, 2, 3 bars up. But nevertheless, market did come off. I wouldn't take that trade, just as I wouldn't take this one. Then a little bit later, 247 off your low. Delta scalper gives a buy. Comes down here, gets a little bit below this low, so probably would have stopped you out. Then Delta scalper sell. You come up here, you test the high. Didn't get stopped out. Now for this Delta scalper, right? People ask where to put your stop. Put your stop just above this high. That's why we draw out this area. This is sort of the the red line. Like the RPM reader on your car. Once you start trading up in here, that's where you could start managing the trade and decide to get out. Just like here, we just came right back down really quick, actually. Get down in here, fuck it, this is where you get out, take your loss, look for your next trade. And, here, it starts making the move down, then it starts ticking up in here. Hey, warning, red alert. Fortunately, it held. It didn't get past that. You got a single print there, price rejector, and then the market, continued its move down into new lows. Get down here. You have a ratio bounds low. You don't have a divergence. You do rally back up though. So again, being short, read the order flow, right? Where do you want to get out? Oh yeah, I got a bullish signal here. I got a ratio bounds low telling me there's some stopping volume down here in this bar at this low. That's your sign to get out. You don't have to wait for it to come all the way up here to stop you out. Take your profit, whatever, little profit you can get out of it, maybe about 8 ticks, 10 ticks, but that's your sign, right? I mean, that's why you read order flow. It's not like, oh, okay, I'm going to set an arbitrary take profit down here at 117.35, and if it doesn't get there, I'll just wait for it to stop me out. No, you read the order flow and find out what's going to happen, and make your decisions off that. A bit later, again, similar thing. You got Delta scalper kicking off here. Starts making the move down, rallies back up. Again, it's holding in the zone. That's why we draw out, that's why I have this zone programmed in there. To me, it's a mental, what do you call it? Mental stop, or, I mean, you could literally place your stop there. But, for me, it's, I like to read the order flow. So, you see how it comes right back up to that level of this area, right? Because this is telling you, they were selling, it shifted from a demand-driven market to a supply-driven market, and you come right back up to these areas, you're going to see the sellers come in if this is going to hold. And what happens? Boom, you get a nice sell-off again from this area up here around 57. Boom, come down into new lows. No reason to be buying down here, at these lows. Then down here you get the Delta scalper again. It hits this low. Delta scalper kicks off, a little bit of a rally, comes down here. You got a ratio and divergence, 1 bar up, and then just sort of goes sideways on you before going, going lower. But again, the fact that it just makes its move and then just sort of comes back down and goes sideways on you. At this point, you should 40 minutes later realize it's not working out. You got your move. You're just making lower highs. All these are signs, when you put the pieces of the puzzles together, right? You got your trigger here. Then goes up. You got a swing high here, I guess. I mean, it's not much of a swing high. Come off, rally back up. Can't take out this high. And you got a single print. come off again, rally back up. Still can't take out this high now, so you're getting lower highs before you finally break down into new lows. Just a divergence, no ratio there. Again, same thing, ratio bounds low here. You get a pop up. It's 7:30, okay, in here, 7:15. Again, I'm not looking to take trades at 7:15 because you got to hold it through the number. Number comes out. Yeah, I can make the argument, oh, look, there's a point of control extreme and the market came off. No, you wouldn't be trading at 7:30. You shouldn't be taking signals around 7:30. Now later, 7:50 here, you start coming off again. You got Delta Scalper giving you a sell. And, it makes its move. It's a small move before it starts rallying back up, unfortunately. Sometimes the moves are big, sometimes they're unfortunately smaller. Again, you get Delta Scalper giving you a sell here. Now here you get a better move than the one before, from 117.03 down to 90.89, even lower. Point of control extreme right here, bullish ratio. Unfortunately, it runs into the bar with a single print here, 4. You got a bearish ratio as well, which, again, you get something. This is what insight here for you. You get, a high or a low made. You got a bullish ratio, ratio bounds low, anything. If the next bar's got the opposite, either a bearish ratio, so you got a bullish ratio here, it's followed by a bearish ratio, chances are it's not going to work out on you. So, keep that in mind, right? It's what you want to see. You want to see continuation. You don't want to come in with the red bar after this bar. You don't want to come in with the opposite thing here with the bearish ratio. Majority of the time it's going to fail on you, and this trade fails. Then here you get the Delta Scalper right off the low. Delta Scalper coming in. Boom, right off the low. This is 116.88, and we rally all the way up to almost 117 even. Do get up through it, but it's taken its time. Unfortunately, it's taken its time to really you get the initial pop up, then you just sort of go sideways, but eventually you do rally quite nicely. Then late in the day, double Delta Scalper, 1, 2, single print here. So you got this, basically this, triple high almost. Well, not almost, it is, but ratio, Delta Scalper, and then you make a nice little move down, going into the close for the day. But again, this one's occurring, quite late in the day. I'm not a big fan of trading currencies after 2 p.m., the old floor close, and basically when cash dealers close their books for the day. But, you still can get moves. It's up to you if you want to trade during that time. So, those are the tools used in the presentation, the Orderflows Trader and the Delta Scalper. And again, if you're interested to learn more about the software, go to orderflows.com and go to deltascalper.com. So thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.